one of the reasons why the ranks of independents are growing so much is that both parties have the animal spirits in the parties. The people who show up and boo or cheer or shun or welcome, they're basically telling anybody that if you don't completely agree with the crazies, you're not one of us. And so people are like, well, then I'm out of here, right? And so Kari Lake, you brought up Kari Lake, is still about as perfect an example of this phenomenon as anybody. She was in striking distance of winning when she ran for governor. At a rally, I don't know, 10 days before the election, something like that. She says at a rally, is there anybody here who voted for John McCain? And then she says, it doesn't matter. We don't want you here. There's no place for you here. Now, I mean, I've ranted about this before, but like, if you know anything about politics or you think about politics for 2 seconds, people who show up at your rally, particularly people who voted for the most popular Republican in the state for the last 30 years, they're interested in voting for you, right? They want to vote for you. Maybe they need to hear more. Maybe they were just there to check it out, whatever. Maybe they've been going to a lot of your rallies, but you never said this before. And to say, hey, you voted for this guy who won a Senate seat, I don't know, 5 times in this state as a Republican, and was the Republican nominee in 2008, most famous Republican politician outside of Barry Goldwater since World War II. Yeah, if you voted for him, you're not a real Republican anymore. It is so astoundingly, profoundly stupid. It is so stupid that conspiracy theories that think, okay, she's actually taking money from Democrats to destroy the Republican Party have at least superficial plausibility absent other data. And this writ large is the problem with the GOP and to a certain extent, the Democratic Party. It helps the Democratic Party that Joe Biden is president because, as problematic as Joe Biden is, the presidency is so important to getting things done for your party that people suck it up and take one for the team to support a president, particularly a weak president that you need to get reelected. But the animal spirits, in the Democratic Party, the Bernie Sanders crowd, the AOC crowd, the Elizabeth Warren crowd, they very much would like to whip ideological conformity and political conformity on the entire party. And they do it pretty well in some regards on things like abortion. But on the Republican Party side, it's as if success is a sign that you sold out. That if you won a battle, that means you compromised somehow, which means you're impure, which means that therefore you're a sellout and a member of the establishment. The only way to be sure that you're really one of us is to lose, and lose badly, right? And so, and just on this electability thing, I think Steve's right about the various vulnerabilities that Donald Trump has. I think you're right, Mike, that it's hard to make this case to normal voters because what they see is the symmetry between the unpopularity ratings, right? So like nominally, Joe Biden's approval rating is 39% or 42%, whatever the number is, right? And then they see that Donald Trump's is 39% or 42%. Okay, so it's like even Steven. What they don't internalize and really comprehend is if you ask those people in the middle who don't like either candidate, if forced to choose between Donald Trump and Joe Biden, who will you vote for? And they break pretty decisively for Joe Biden. More people will vote. When was the last election where more people didn't vote against the other party than for their own party? And in an election where you're going to have a guy sort of like, remember in Jaws where like you just taking all the barrels and you can't see, so keep him from going underwater. He's going to have conceivably a conviction in him. And the idea that a felon is going to win more votes than an amiable, grandfatherly, out of the loop kind of senioritis sufferer strikes me as unlikely, and it's just not supported by the polls. Where I think Biden has a real vulnerability, which I think we're going to get to a little bit in the next topic, is on the corruption issue. Right now, more people think Donald Trump is corrupt. because there's a lot more evidence, concrete evidence that he's more corrupt. But that doesn't mean that they're not going to find evidence with this Hunter Biden stuff that could at least cancel out those issues for a lot of voters. And I think the Democrats are whistling past the graveyard and doing themselves a real disservice by dismissing these concerns out of hand as just more Benghazi nonsense. When, as Steve and I will tell you, we don't think Benghazi was all nonsense. I was on with Karen Finney on CNN the other night, and I like Karen a lot, but she was saying how, all this stuff about he's too old, it reminds me of all the stuff we heard in 2016 about Hillary Clinton's emails. And she made it sound like that was a reason to dismiss the concerns about Biden being old. Well, first of all, vastly more people are concerned about Biden being old. We just have this new poll. It's like 3 out of 4 Democrats are concerned about Biden being old. But moreover, the stuff about her emails is arguably why she lost the election. If they had taken that stuff more seriously, maybe they wouldn't have lost to Donald Trump in the first place. I think it is just a profoundly unserious country right now that we are on the precipice of nominating 2 people so unfit for the office again.